My name is DrRic Question.
And action. Hey, Jay had a... This is Kirk again. And action. Hey everyone, Pat and a few other people had a question about Keto Flu. Now we're preparing, a bunch of us on Facebook are preparing for a 5-day fast. That's supposed to start this coming Monday. So it's now Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If you haven't ever done a fast, you should get ready, because just fasting itself, meaning caloric restriction, will cause a significant withdrawal. If it's coffee, pop, caffeine of any sort, you can have withdrawal from that. Headaches, irritability, difficulty with concentration, sometimes chest pain, upset stomach, diarrhea. But if this is the first time you're finding me, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the alert button to find out when I do new videos. This is the Minute Clinic, so it kind of depends on what I have as far as a question in the clinic that keeps on being repeated. Now, I sometimes will do it for Facebook too, but either way, I do a lot of different videos, so hopefully you can peruse my other ones and take a look. So with summer starting now officially, not officially, but it's finally nice weather outside. No more snow, no more 40-degree mornings and sunshine. Now there's sunshine. We have people getting outside and taking off layers of clothing. Now the problem is, if you live in Chicago, you can get covered up, and before you know, it's like, whoa, I didn't know I got that big. Because we choose to ignore the scale or the mirror, or maybe it's too dark in the room. Either way, it sneaks up on us. That, in addition to my 50 to 60-year-olds suddenly going downhill with the hormones, just a little bite of something will put on size. So we try to take away stuff. And I think that it's very discouraging when you try your best, you're cutting down calories or you're changing around your macros, you're fasting, and nothing happens after 30. It's really discouraging. So I have to be the guy or the coach that kind of shortcuts that for you. So one of the shortcuts is to fast. Sometimes if you can fast, as in the work of Walter Longo, 5-day fasting has turned around liver size for fatty liver disease, immune responsiveness, and chemotherapy response, or I should say cancer cell responsiveness with chemotherapy, just with 5 days a month for about 3 cycles or 3 months. Now, that doesn't mean for the rest of the 25 days you can eat crap. No, you still have to be careful with avoiding binging, because you're going to feel like you want to on the 6th day. But that's when we load up and we're going to try to prepare for the next 5 days in the next month. No, that's when we really be conscious and mindful for what we put into our mouths. If you think of it like you're preparing for the state finals, it's sometimes hard to fathom, like track and field. I remember in February, March, it's like, who cares about states? You might not even make it, so I'm not going to train that hard. I'm going to dog it. And no, we don't want to do that. We want to start preparing like we're going to hit the state finals, like we're going to hit nationals, sectionals, regionals, whatever you want to say. So every day it's dedicated, and blood, sweat, and tears, restrictions, can't overdo it, can't indulge like everybody else that's not in training. You got to stick to your guns. That's why I like to see a calendar. So if a calendar is 90 days or 120 days out, you can start ticking down the days, and it'll be easier to say, I'm going to stay on task, because here's my week, here's my month, here's my goal. It's easy to fathom that when you can see that endpoint. When you just have it a loose endpoint, tough. Anyway, that's why 5 days versus a summer is a lot easier. So I'm currently doing 16-8 fasting. That means I eat for 8 hours and I fast for 16. I allow a little bit of green tea or coffee in that fasting time period, but that's about it. So it has helped me get to a waist size that I haven't reached in a long time. I'm a 30 now, and I'm not losing any muscle mass. In fact, I'm packing on muscle mass faster than I have in my 40s. I'm now 56. So something is happening, and I was previously a pescatarian with some results. Then I went vegan when a friend of mine had a heart attack in the office last fall, and I had some results, but nothing has happened as fast as doing a fasting, incorporating fasting. And again, it's currently 16-8. I started at 12 hours of fasting, 12 hours of eating, then I moved to 14 hours of fasting, and 10 hours of eating, then I moved to 16 hours fasting, 8 hours of eating. I've occasionally done 20 or 18 to 20 hours, but that's kind of tough. So I think 16-8 is working for me. I'm going to throw this in. So all that being said, when you initiate a change up in your fuel, you're going to have a problem. Meaning, if you go from mostly carbohydrates to ketosis, which is what we're going to be doing with fasting, we're going to be hitting ketosis. With ketosis, you're going to be liberating a lot of the fat stores in the stomach, in the visceral fat, that depot that never gets touched, that you dump fuel into, and as far as fat, but you don't pull it out if you constantly eat. That's why I don't like the concept of multiple small meals, unless you're really cranking it out with the exercise. For that, especially endurance or CrossFit, Tabata type exercises, I think you have to have glucose as your fuel source. Glucose, glycogen can be extracted immediately and utilized by muscle and brain, but mostly muscle if you're exercising. So I think that you can, if you're fat adapted, you can burn fat, but it takes a while to get fat adapted. And sometimes, even though you can burn fat if you're adapted and it's a cleaner fuel, I just think that explosive muscle, the type 2A and the type 2X or Bs, those muscles want glucose. So I think you have to have a little reserve. So anyway, if you're used to that glucose and suddenly you go over to keto because you just rock your glucose down, your carbohydrates down, you're going to have the metabolism say, wait a minute, where's my fuel source? Because it's not ready to go into switching as its fuel source to fat or ketosis. So it's going to be on the fence. In some studies, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks. Now you question whether you're going to be hitting ketosis in 5 days. I am not sure. I'm going to be doing a self-experiment by drawing blood tomorrow, that's Saturday, and then doing blood again the Saturday after I'm finished the 5 days, and I'll see if I can get into a higher level of ketosis. I'm a self-experimenter. I've got my, although I did an unboxing of this Libre, this 24-hour, this continuous glucose monitor, I'll have this on. Then I'll have my blood test to see what exactly happens inside my body before I fast and after I fast, 5 days. Now, I am cheating a little bit before because I have initiated a touch of ketosis. So let's talk about that. If you wanted to avoid the keto flu, it's hard, again, because number one, you're switching over fuel sources and your brain might be used to glucose and suddenly you're chopping that down and you might have a bunch of fat laying around, but the brain still has to get used to utilizing the fat. So in that interim, it's going to think starvation. And if you've ever gone, if you've done it for the first time, I'm used to it now, the first time that you move to starvation type hours, you'll get irritable, cranky. All you think about is chocolate or candy because it's a fast fuel source at home. Your problem solving will be off. So you'll probably have problems with sleep, problems with getting sleepy during the day. So all that, even body aches, fevers and chills, blurred vision, chest pain, diarrhea, nausea. You can have all those. That's what's called the keto flu because it almost resembles having influenza or your regular flu-like symptoms from any other virus. So that usually will go away. I think half of that is because you have to switch fuel sources, and the other half also is because you're just probably knocking out a lot of alcohol and caffeine, because that doesn't count. When you're fasting, you got to get rid of that stuff. At least get rid of the alcohol because that's concentrated, useless calories. And it's sugar. Alcohol usually is sugar. There are some alcohols that are low sugar, but I haven't investigated them. And also the pop has caffeine, pop has sugar, so stopping that immediately, you're going to have withdrawal if you've ever done that before. So alcohol, caffeine, sugar, it's going to hurt. The other reason, and I don't think there's any other way around it, you can probably taper, like Pat's doing, taper down on the other stuff. But if you're already off that stuff, then the other reason for having keto flu, body aches, headaches, blurred vision, all that stuff, would be because you are just switching over to not as many calories. So number one, not as many calories. Number two, switching fuel sources from glucose to fat. Number three, you might be trying to get rid of alcohol, caffeine, or sugar, which your body is always reacting to. When it's ready to react and it's not there, it's going to violently retaliate. So the fourth reason is in many cases, when you drop down the carbohydrates like cereal. Think of cereal as the perfect example of carbohydrate with sugar. Tony the Tiger Frosted Flakes. Used to love that. Anyway, when you have that, or what's the other one? Cheerios or Fruit Loops. I used to eat those all the time. Or Chex Weeks. Somebody came in the other day and said that was his morning. When you have that in a bowl and you add liquid, usually almond milk or whatever you drink, or water, if you're a college kid, you notice that the carbohydrate soaks all that in. You can actually turn the bowl over after about an hour and a drop will come out because the carbohydrates soaked in that water. Carbohydrates do that. They love to soak in water. If you have if you have a stick of butter or a bunch of lard or avocado or coconut oil and you put water in it, it doesn't mix with water. So fat doesn't really mix with water. Carbohydrate it loves water. Protein, like a piece of steak, if you pour water on it, nothing happens. It doesn't mix either, right? So when you get rid of a carbohydrate, you also get rid of a significant amount of water. It's called natriuresis. So you will pee a lot of water out. So you'll lose a lot of weight that way. So you'll have some weight loss, volume. But here's a caveat, and that's that number 4 thing. When you lose the water, it's cool because the scale's lighter, but you also lose sodium, potassium, magnesium. So when you lose that stuff, your body needs those things. It needs B vitamins, that's water soluble, needs all those electrolytes. Magnesium is usually taken out of bone when you're stressed out, and that's what can happen. You can have a stress reaction. I guess that's number 5. So number 4, before we get off that topic, dehydration and then not enough sodium. When you don't have enough sodium, electrolytes don't flow right and you can get headaches from that. And we're already water light because nobody likes to drink that much water, especially truck drivers, people that are on computers or telecommunications. You don't want to drink water because you'll have to leave and go pee. So most of us are really good at being dry. If you have coffee, that's a diuretic. It's going to make you pee. So you're already dry, and if you lose more because you knock out carbohydrate, you'll be even drier. Dehydration, headache. Imagine working out. Now, I'll get that in a second, but working out dehydrated, you're going to ask for trouble. That's one of the problems. After a night of binging with alcohol, you get dehydrated from peeing all night. That'll hurt. So you'll have the same pain. So hydrate the heck out of yourself. I like carbonated water. Pellegrino is my favorite. I like the balance. It reminds me of Coke. I used to drink Coke a long time ago. And no caffeine, no calories, no fat, no carbohydrates. Pellegrino just has salt. So hydrate and try to take your salts. I did an unboxing of a keto keto salt. Check it out. I think that's another way to introduce ketosis, a form of ketosis that the brain, the muscle, the liver, the body gets used to maybe switching over to fuel source of fat because the keto salts, number 1, you have beta hydroxybutyrate, and that it has to bind with a salt to get into and stabilize and to get into the digestive system and get absorbed. When you do that, you might nudge your body into a little more ketosis before we actually hit ketosis, and the starvation ketosis or the nutritional ketosis. So I think it's important. If you just take salt as far as airborne, that's fine too. I don't know what those fizz taps of airborne are salty, but again, so is carbonated water. So I'd rather just have you do carbonated water. Plus, you'll hydrate the heck out of yourself. So prepare. Again, last but not least, you have to worry about that. That sometimes when you don't have enough fluids and then you switch over to the fuel source, you can get fat adapted faster, and that's with either salts, keto salts like I just mentioned, and check out the video, the unboxing video, or esters. Keto esters are liquids in a bottle that are essentially a fast way to get the body into a state of ketosis. It spikes fast, but it also goes away fast. Keto salts are more affordable. You do them twice a day. Just have to worry about the stomach upset. So that's why it's nice to start now, to get used to it now. You might, on Monday, just smooth right into that ketosis or the fasting without a hitch, without the keto flu. Now, we're going to be starting on Monday, so I'd hate to have you guys not only start on Monday, have a busy Monday, but also have irritability by the end of the night. So it's Friday, might as well start now or tomorrow. Keto salts you can get anywhere. I don't have Consumer Labs reviewing keto salts, so it's kind of like asking your local vitamin place. I go to Fruitful Yield. You can probably get it also at Whole Foods. I'm not sure about Trader Joe's vitamin shop, most likely. GNC I don't usually go to. I probably do that more so than Amazon because we're not sure. Now, if you like Perfect Keto, that group I like. I've seen the reviews. I've seen some of the presentations that the owners done. As far as keto esters, the liquids, there's only one. I think it's called Keto Aid. It's too expensive though. I mean, it puts you into a ketosis of, I believe, up to, I've seen some of the demos, 5 to 7 millimolar, which is unbelievable. So if you're not sure about how ketosis works, most of us don't have any, we're not in ketosis. We're producing just lactic acid from glucose utilization. And now the byproduct, if you get into ketosis where you're burning fat, you'll have fat burning and it'll liberate and make you ketotic. And ketosis, it puts you, if you're in starvation or if you're exercising and you're exercising fasting, you'll be in a little bit of ketosis, about 7 to maybe 0.9 millimolar, 0.7 to 0.9 millimolar. And that's just beginning. When you practice the ketose, adaptive nutrition ketosis, you might get up to about 3. You'll average 3 before you start using your fuel sources, and that's when you're rock steady, maybe 5. So you eat mostly fat, you exercise fasted, and you get to about a 3 to a 5. I have seen where these guys take the keto esters in liquid form. They have to choke it down because it supposedly tastes like kerosene, gasoline. But within 30 minutes, their blood keto level goes up to like 7 millimolar at 30 minutes. After taking that, no exercise, no fasting, no diet, just taking that. So that is the only state or time that you can be in a state where you're digesting glucose and having insulin and also have a high level of ketones. So your brain has the option of going both ways. Now, if you are lowering your glucose and lowering your insulin and you have this keto present, your brain will be adapted immediately because it'll have all this fuel available. And so that is an option. But it's just so expensive. It's like $100 for a week, I believe. That's just expensive. It's great for athletes, great for people who are trying to crank out. It works going straight to the brain as far as giving you this world of ease of problem solving, supposedly. So if you're interested in that, great. You probably will have a lot of money. Great for you. If you can't afford that, then try to find a good keto salt. Test it out. My last video, I put you want to be at about 7 to 15 grams of salt per day, beta-hydroxybutyrate salt. So different companies will give you in capsule form or powder form, but it has to be. Right now I'm taking about 3 grams twice a day, so I'm about 6. I'm just snudging into that window. So hopefully that'll get, while I'm cutting down on volume already, I'm chipping away at it, that'll get my brain and body a little used to ketosis-like adaptation. I'm hoping. But again, if you unless you're really good at this and you've done it in the past and your brain and your body are used to switching fuel sources, you might have this thing called flu. You can always take Tylenol, you can always push in salt and water. You can always take it easy with your exercise routine. And that'll be my last point. When you move into a 5-day fast and lower your total calories per day and maybe force a little bit of ketosis, ketosis is good because it'll tell your body I'm not hungry. It'll start signaling insulin to drop. When insulin drops and growth hormone goes up, you've got muscle building. But if you work out too aggressively, not only will you, again, you're going to get into ketosis when you're exercising, you can do that, and you can get into ketosis because you're fasting, you can do that, but if you push too hard, muscle will hurt a little bit, and you're going to be on the fence if this is beginning. If you're a beginner with this and you're starting it, you're going to be on the fence as far as getting into the flu state. So sometimes doing it too aggressive, like you're used to, too aggressive an exercise routine, like my 15 minutes from hell, that kind of thing, and low fuel sources, you might hit the wall. If you've never hit the wall, you don't want to feel it. But that also can be misunderstood or misinterpreted as flu. You're hitting the wall. So not only can you have flu, but if you push your usual workout, you're going to hit the wall. So be careful, please. So hopefully this gives you a little idea of what to do. It's interesting. And this is not for ketosis, but I've done some reading on ketosis. Quick Start's okay. This book I got by mistake, but it had ketosis and intermittent fasting. I love marking up these books. These are nice, but this is the 2008 book. I read this a long time ago, and I went back into it, and he said, don't do ketosis if you are diabetic. Do not go into ketosis. And I was thinking, wow, that is old. So the newer information with regards to Longo or Fung, great information. Fung, he cites some pretty decent studies. Nice guy, got a couple of pointers. I just love Walter Longo's book. So this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put two together and see if it pushes me to the brink of almost feeling like I did when I was in my 20s. Up above, I feel pretty decent. Down below, as far as quads and hamstrings and glutes, ooh, that hurts when I push a little bit too hard. But so far, and waist size is responding. So as far as my self-experiment, I'll post my blood test results compared to next week's. I'll post my glucoses that I'm going to do with my continuous monitor, and I'll probably show you the event as I go through the 5 days. So wish us luck. Join in if you want to, or just watch us, because I'll be doing this again this time next month. And I'll be doing it for 3 cycles just to see what I can do before end of the summer. So hopefully you like this. Put your comments down below. I think you can put comments on Facebook. Otherwise, you can join me on my YouTube channel, YouTube Herbal411, and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you at the next Minute Clinic.